It was a Christmas morning. We actually not long had a house phone fitted with the round dials on them. And my dad rang the house phone. He'd obviously gone out for Christmas Day, his usual Christmas Day drink. He rang from the pub and said to me, I had a jacket for you. So I said, what sort of jacket is it? He said, a donkey jacket. And I started laughing. I said, all right then, I'm coming up. So I went up to the pub, the Live and Let Live, walked into the bar, and there was my dad with three of his mates standing at the bar with the donkey. My dad said to me, yeah, come here, this is your Christmas present. Happy Christmas, son. Brought the donkey home to my mum's house to show my mum. My mum didn't even know he had it. I met Neville after junior school. We went to a school called Cardinal Wiseman. We started hanging around together. Then I ended up getting this donkey, get the donkey out of the stables. I used to get on the front, he used to get on the back, and off we used to go to school. Tie it up into the bike sheds. People's bikes would be in a row, and mine and Neb's donkey would be tied up in between the bikes. All that sort of stuff. But yeah, we used to go to school on a donkey. Yeah, we used to have a Wood End Fete, which was quite a big thing in them days. It used to be like a carnival itself within the community. Me and Nev used to take the donkey down there. I'd be leading the donkey, Nev be getting the kids on the donkey, charging them 50p a go. Would have been a hell of a lot of money in them days. But people used to try and jump on the donkey and get freebies and that, but Neville being Neville, he'd soon pull them off the donkey and say, no, this ain't free, it's not a charity. And they'd have to go back home and get 50p off their mums.
Yeah, boy. Come on. Come on. Paul Cots. Come on. Come on. Paul Cots. Come on. Let's rock. Paul Cots. Come on. Come on.
The revolution sort of in our era, in our age, the boom. Football violence was prominent at the time, lots of firms, the Baby Squad, the Zulus, 157 Crew, there was all different firms of lads from all around the whole of the Midlands, well, further afield, Manchester, Liverpool. It just sort of blew up, it just was like a bomb went off in the UK. There was events on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, that everybody had just found this music, this beat, this culture, this whole thing just exploded.
You know, we have to go back, right back to where there was nothing, you know, and we were all going to, you know, using Coventry as an example, we were all going to the Pink Parrot and we were spoon-fed entertainment, you know, there was no individuality. The rave scene was electronic indie, it was the same thing. We were modern day goths in a sense, you know, where we didn't want to conform. We wanted to do something different. And the music and the way the music was produced and the technology really pushed people to do that because it was quirky, it was different. There was a hippiness to it, there was an edginess to it. With that, it became one of the best things in the world, which is happy accidents and mistakes and things that shouldn't have worked that work. You know, and suddenly you create a scene, and I don't think any of us really knew what was happening. We just turned up and did it.
Coventry was the most bombed city in the Second World War, and it was the most having it place in the rave days, without a doubt.
Everyone wanted a party and love each other, so it was great.
Youth culture, generally, there's a window where things are starting to overlap from like, sort of like R&B soul music or sound system culture, and then acid house kicking in. And these things are starting to overlap a bit. And then while it's overlapping, there's also the stigmas around the new thing coming in and the aspects of like ecstasy.
It's like the whole of Coventry pulled together to follow what we were doing, and they had faith in it. It was like a new belief. It's like whatever yous are doing, we agree with it, and we're coming with you. He went into nightclubs and stuff like that, where we I think the first sort of nightclub we done was the Dome in Birmingham. A massive place.
I think one of the clubs had approached Mickey or something to that effect. It's like, look, we've been offered a Wednesday night in Birmingham. It's like, Wednesday night, like. So we just thought, you know what, we'll give it a go. Got in touch with the DJs, put some live PAs on, stuff like that. Dome on a Wednesday night, it's like a Sharon and Tracy club. But it worked.
There's this moment in time where it's like people are dipping their toe into this new culture that doesn't relate to them whatsoever, but they're from the inner city.
It still weren't about money with us. It was all about having a good time. So when we put an event on, it weren't like, let's have a couple of crappy DJs and we'll earn loads of money out of it. We were saying, let's get the best DJs. Let's get. We don't care how much money they cost. They've got to be the best.
Cold Cops, we'd have live PAs, Shades of Rhythm, Enjoy. Big acts, like we'd have at our all-night events up till 2 o'clock in the week. And they weren't probably playing out on Wednesday nights, but they were for us.
Fabio, Groove Rider, Jumping Jack Frost, Top Buzz, Sasha, Frankie Bones, people like that. It was just the start of the rave scene starting to erupt and it becoming a worldwide thing.
And they were obviously in it for the right reasons. There was a lot of people in it because it was a money machine. I thought Amnesia Houses, for me, definitely were the leaders up in that part of the world. 88, 89, and then you started seeing a lot of other promoters coming out. But they definitely, for me, well, what I noticed were the leaders that started, I don't know what you want to call it, what are known as today, raves, events.
I knew that I was getting a lot of love in Coventry, and I was getting a lot of love in the Midlands, full stop. You know, it wasn't just Coventry, it was like Birmingham, Leicester, Wolverhampton.
I loved it, because they always brought us in. The atmosphere was electric. It was proper roots, grown from the roots, you know what I mean? It weren't no corporate organisation, it had a soul. It was proper, you know, so we loved it. And when we heard they were doing more and more things, we wanted to be involved as well.
The energy was just something else, and it was like being part of something like a kind of revolution.
Anything that changes people's minds and perceptions has always got to be a big thing.
An amazing kind of experience. You'd be waiting all week to go and have this sort of alternate reality.
Something's going on here. So it wasn't like just middle class and working class. I'm talking like upper class girls and boys mixing with people who they would otherwise not mix with.
And come together with a whole load of souls to just be free, experiment, dance, just be yourself.
Can't get any bigger than rave culture, can you? It's actually changing anything. So yeah, Amnesia House definitely changed things and people's perceptions and how people rave. Rave wasn't even a word back then.
We had to have the best of everything. And you know, at the end of the month, we might have earned 200 quid each. We probably weren't worth doing it.
Yeah, we had a quite good relationship with the DJs in the end. They were like our friends, not just an act.
Every single time I turned up at Amnesia House, I'd get a massive hug from Mickey, Neville. I'd look at Neville and he'd just be like, oh, it was like a raving family. Do you know what I mean? Neville, Bam, all of them. Mickey, do you know what I mean? Just They are a very important part of my history.
So I felt like a part of it because of how I related with Mickey and Bam Bam, and also Neville. They were just roadmen, you know what I'm saying? You know, I used to look at them as, you know, people like me, but the northern version, you get what I'm saying? But on another level.
The Dome was on, you know, you'd have a great PAs, great DJs midweek from all over the country. You'd have 1,000, 2,000 people in there on a Wednesday night.
It was just something that evolved and it just grew so huge. From my front room, we literally had boxes and boxes of people's names, addresses, and we used to send all the, you know, the flyers for the next rave, mailing all these thousands of people all over the country. That's how big it was. It started off like, I suppose, a few hundred, then a few thousand, then there was thousands, you know.
Everything we were doing was Midlands based, and obviously we wanted this scene to grow. We sort of sat down and had a chat, and we says, why don't we move out of our area and start branching out a little bit and showing people up north what we've got to offer, making Amnesia House a bigger thing. We still at this stage we didn't know what we do. We weren't businessmen. It was just, these were just ideas.
Mickey's side of it was dealing with the clubs and sort of getting us into the venues. He was a little bit more legal, obviously.
I mean, Mickey was quite an eccentric lad, Mickey. He had some great ideas, Mickey was. Some of the things he used to come out with. But Mickey, he was intelligent, he was clever.
It's Mickey Lynas, because that's the first name that I always remember from Amnesia House. We just connected straight away. And it turned out to be one of the most lovely people I've ever met in my life. Along with Neville, don't forget Neville.
He had more of a creative brain. More of a creative brain. Loved the music, absolutely. They all loved the music, but he loved it. And he wanted it to be a great show as well the night. He wanted it to be a great show for the punters, for the customers. He loved the customers, you know what I mean? He was like one of them basically, but he was controlling things from behind the scene. So he loved it, he just loved it.
Mickey just stood out. He was just like out there, and he, you know, he was always he was bouncing, yeah, you know, he was always in for the scene, you know. It's okay to be different, isn't it? Because everybody before had this big stiff upper lip, but we all just sort of evolved into different people. It gave us a whole new meaning in life, you know.
Go round mix and we'd sit there and the cups of teas were flowing and the arguments, and then they'd have a spliff and it'd calm down a bit, and then there'd be another argument. We'd go to do a flyer as an example. Right, we'll meet together tonight, we'll do the flyer. The flyer never got done. It was arguments and couldn't agree on DJs and couldn't agree on this and couldn't agree on that.
We were all passionate about things and we all had our ideas. You know, Mickey might say something and I'll probably say, nah, let's not do it like that, that's just a load of bollocks, and, you know, but we all had, you know, we all had our input, you know. Bam was the reserved one. Me and Mickey were more the wild two, you know, like, Bam was calm. You know, me and Mickey like, yeah, come on, let's go and do this, do that, hyperactive. You know, Bam was the calming influence, to be quite honest with you. He used to reel me in now and again, Bam did.
I think we went up to Shelley's to watch Sasha one Friday. Myself, Mick and Neville. It was a very busy night. In the earlier days, we used Sasha as our DJs, but as time went on, he stayed into house music. We started to realise there was a different sound being created, an underground sound, where Sasha was more vocally, piano and stuff like that.
I loved that scene back then because you had a cooking pot, you know, in a party, say, I don't know, an Amnesia House party, you had Sasha playing almost like piano house, and then I come on with Dominator. I would go to Belgium to buy records. Not a lot of people knew this, but I would slip out to Belgium. I had a couple of little shops out there because for me, that sound that they were coming out with, they was ruling it for me. And I got heavily into that kind of, not your full-on techno, but there was something about it that gripped me, obviously.
I can't remember if it was Mick or Neville got speaking to the doorman.
Mickey got talking to the management up there, and the next thing is Mickey says, look, we've been offered Shelley's on a Saturday night, shall we go for it? So we thought, well, we're not going to come because we do something completely different to Sasha. So we brought the Amnesia brand up.
And they said there's nothing going on up there on a Saturday night. Sasha was doing the Friday night. And obviously because it was two different kinds of music, there was two different businesses that could run alongside each other without stealing each other's crowd. So they were happy for us to have a go at doing the Saturday night.
The first night was absolutely heaving on the Saturday, and we'd done that first month, and it was rammed every single Saturday, and we didn't put a flyer out after that. We didn't have to put a flyer out. It was just like we turn up on a Saturday night, the place is packed.
We got one flyer done to see how that would do, and that was the only promotion we ever done for Shelley's, and it carried on for 2 years.
The queues were huge. No matter what the weather, the queues were huge. And then you just sort of go in, and it was erupting. As soon as the music went on, it erupted. I've never seen so many barebacks, sweaty people that just hugged you, and you'd be, you know, like, it was just awesome, an awesome club.
Shelley's was just a club, like the Eclipse was a club. But Amnesia put on the nights.
I literally worked there from day one, the day Shelley started. I worked behind the door selling tickets. People come in, give their £10 or whatever it was at the time. I think it was around £10 to be fair.
And we went into Shelley's, and it was just like the most amazing experience I'd ever had. It was like I'd come home. Everybody was just on this like level where there was such love and such companionship, and everybody was just happy and in the zone, and it was just like a magical experience.
You know, they looked kind of unassuming from outside.
Hundreds and hundreds of people. The queue would go from outside of Shelley's miles long. And the buzz that was going on, and after it hit that number, no more getting in. So they wanted to make sure they were in. They were not missing it for nothing because it was so exciting.
And when you got in, it was total madness.
The music, the lights, you're seeing your friends, but you'd go there with all your face all done and hair all done. Within an hour, we were sweating.
The double doors into Shelley's, as soon as they opened, you'd start sweating. It was that hot in there. It was ridiculous.
And I was just going round to everybody saying, I love you, I love you. I don't know you, but I really love you. And I'd just be holding their hands, and there was this connection.
And the lady in the toilets, I'll never forget her, Jean. She was the cleaner. And my friend used to just go and spend about 3 hours with her in the toilets. We used to have to go and drag her out.
But I was also having the best time of my life as well. I got mashed. I was still on the ball. I knew what was going on. I weren't stupid. But I was buzzing like all the ravers, you know. We were all buzzing. Everybody was buzzing that was coming to these events.
You had to go a bit easier in Shelley's than you normally would because it was Sasha's. You used to think it was Sasha's club, you know what I mean? You always associate Sasha with Shelley's. Whether he'd be there or not, you paid, well, I paid respect to that club. So I wouldn't do what I was doing at the Eclipse at Shelley's. You know, it's like playing techno in a garage club. That's the way it seemed. You know what I mean? So, you know, you went and showed that place the right amount of respect. Don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but that's what I did.
Shelley's was like, it was a holy place. I think with the heat, the atmosphere, it was another thing that we created, and whether it was the further up north you went, the nicer the people were. People come from Nottingham, Derby, massively from Stoke-on-Trent, Liverpool, Manchester, all over the north of England. And Shelley's just created an atmosphere, what I'd never ever seen before.
And I weren't just standing on the sidelines thinking, oh, I've done well tonight. I was in the middle of it with all the people. I was on the stage. I was at the door. I was in the toilets talking to people. You know, I was even buying people drinks. Here, do you want a drink and that? You know.
I remember one night, at the end of the night, Mick, when we, you know, because they used to take the proceeds up to the office upstairs and share them out. And he was that off his head. He's whee for all the money. We were like. But yeah, that was Mick. He was off his head sometimes, you know, but he was just a normal guy out there having fun like everybody else.
A few of the lads from Coventry used to go up there and they're obviously knocking a few pills out and stuff like that. A couple of lads got a few slaps up there, but sometimes, you know, we had to step in and help lads out and save them from a beating, you know. You didn't want them offside with you because obviously then that just leads to trouble.
I've done it from the minute Shelley's opened, from the minute it ended.
Unity, consciousness and love.
The most friendliest, the most comfortable place to go.
Completely blissed out.
I don't think you'll ever get anything like it.
There was no judgmental energy.
It was something that live in our hearts forever now and our memories.
It was something else. The best.
Just didn't want to miss out. Everybody loved Shelley's.
The thing that you have to give the Eclipse, the Edge and Amnesia House credit for is that, in a sense, they weren't really copying anybody because there wasn't anybody to copy. So it was their thing. They created a scene.
We weren't sort of seeing what we were doing. People like Groove Rider and Fabio and Top Burrs, Carl Cox, they were saying, what yous are doing is absolutely amazing. And we'd sort of say, no, yous are making this. And they would say, we're not. We're not doing it on our own. They were saying, what yous are doing is you're going the extra mile.
And what you see with Amnesia and Neville and Mickey and Bam and all the people that were at the beginning is that they laid the foundations without any rules.
We were moving around the country sort of quite fast, really. We started doing the Birmingham. The next thing we're in Manchester, then Stoke-on-Trent come about. Doing it all over the country.
It started growing on us then, making us realise we were brilliant. We were doing something that was really good. Although we didn't, at the start, we didn't think it. It was we were becoming the superstars alongside the DJs.
It was absolutely crucial that that happened because otherwise we would have had a corporate scene rather than a scene that was real.
No matter what town it was going to be in, it was going to be successful.
And when you've got those raw ideas, that's when the best creativity happens.
We started to realise then we were part of this scene.
In most things that happen in life, the original creators don't really get the credit. It's normally the second or third generation after that that financially benefits from it.
When we go, go. Go, 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 go.